given the following graph, find f of negative 1, f of 0, and where f of x equals 0. Now remember, this is the function notation, right? Okay, and here we have the graph. It's basically a little bit of a U shape. We see the arrows pointing down to the left here and down to the right. Okay, so what does this mean? What does f of negative 1 mean? Okay, so this means when x is 0, when x is negative 1, right? So when x is negative 1, right, what is, I mean, we'll say y, right? But basically that's the function value, right? So when x is negative 1, what is y? So let's look at the graph. Right? When x is negative 1, we see that it crosses or it touches when y is equal to 0, right? So we can say that f of negative 1 equals 0. Okay. What about f of 0? What is this asking? Okay, so this is asking us something similar, right? But in this case, when x is 0, right? When x is 0, okay, what is the y value? So we have the graph to tell us that when x is 0, here's the x equals 0 location. So where does the graph touch, right? When x is 0, the y value here is 1, right? So we can say that f of 0 equals 1. And what's the last question? Where does f of x equal 0, right? If f of x is equal to 0, right, then what is this saying? Is that asking where x is equal to 0? Remember, this is the function value. So this is saying when y is equal to 0, right? When y is equal to 0, what is x? Okay. So definitely you don't want to mix these up, right? Okay, so notice here inside the parentheses, that's the function value, right? That is the x value here. Right here, we're trying to find x, right? What is x when the y value or the function value is 0? Now we notice in this case there's actually going to be two answers, right? So I'll just mark the graph now, right? Here, right? This is the y equals 0 spot, so that's going to be one answer. And actually, well, wait a minute. Y is 0 here, so that is going to be that x answer here. Okay, so we can write it like this: f of negative 1 equals 0, and f of 3 equals 0, right? Now it's an ordered pair, right? We don't need to do this, but these are essentially the answers in the ordered pair format. Okay? So given the graph, remember, these are just the x values, right? This is the x-axis. The function values are the actual, in this case, right, the graph itself, right? The blue portion, okay, of the graph.